taking care of everyone else. You've shown up for work, you answered texts, you paid the bills. But when is the last time you truly renewed you? Today on Girl Talk Mental Health, the therapist takeover, we have Aledra Jacobs, and she's going to sit down with us to explore what a mental health day should actually look like and why so many healthcare professionals return from rest feeling like they are depleted, the same as before. So, welcome, Aledra, to the stage.
Hello, thank you, Miss Virginia, for allowing me the opportunity to be able to speak on your platform, Girl Talk Mental Health. My name is Aledra, as stated. I am currently a LPC-A under the supervision of Victoria Varga. I have about 8 years of experience in the mental health field across a variety of settings. Currently, I am doing crisis work and serving as a behavioral therapist at an inpatient psychiatric hospital. I am passionate about CBT, solution focus based therapy, and play therapy. I desire to work primarily with youth and adolescents, but I have experience across all age groups. So, again, I'm excited to be here and thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. It sounds like you are super busy.
Yes, ma'am, a full schedule.
Right. So we appreciate you showing up for us as well. So are you ready to dive into this conversation today?
Yes, ma'am, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's go. Okay. So how can someone recognize the difference between normal stress and the kind of emotional exhaustion that signals they truly need a mental health day?
Okay, so I like to think of it as a battery. Normal stress may indicate that your battery is running low. You know, you're feeling the initial signs of the fatigue, the brain fog. But once that battery is completely depleted, you have nothing left. You can't go anymore. And in our field, stress is common. I feel that we so often work through overstimulation, muscle tension, headaches, and all the other physical symptoms associated with stress that it's easy for us to become accustomed to working under that pressure and not really paying attention to the signals or indications that our body is letting us know that we need rest. We become so committed to fulfilling our responsibilities and ensuring that quality client care that, again, like I said, we begin to ignore that fatigue. And over time, it becomes heavier and heavier, and rest alone is not enough.
Mhm.
So I say to you, at what point do you take a step back and say, what do I need to feel whole again?
Absolutely. Like a self-assessment, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Checking in with yourself, asking
Mhm.
yourself those questions. What is the source of my stress right now? What type of thoughts am I keeping in my mind? You know, are they positive thoughts? Are they negative thoughts? Kind of some of the things that you're finding yourself unable to kind of move forward from.
Right. And then as therapists and mental health professionals, sometimes the same thing we teach our clients, we neglect to do for ourselves. So we can say it all day long to our clients. But when it
Hmm.
comes to us, like, oh, I'm the professional. I have it. I don't have to take breaks or, I don't, they don't tune into their own signs. And I know I'm guilty of the same thing myself. So,
Hmm.
sometimes you have to tune in. Well, I try to practice what I preach, but sometimes you get so committed to working in the field that you forget about yourself, which is women, period, and men. Sometimes you forget about yourself.
Yes, ma'am. I can agree to that as well. Sometimes when I'm at work, I find myself saying, just let me finish this one more thing. Just let me submit this last note. And before you know it, I've been there an extra 2 hours.
Absolutely. So they have to know when they actually running on empty, right?
Yes, ma'am. When that battery is depleted, know the difference between your battery just being a little low and when it's completely depleted and you need a recharge.
Absolutely. That's great information. So what's one common mistake that people make when planning a mental health day that leaves them feeling just as overwhelmed as afterwards? Afterwards.
Sometimes I like to think of this as being in the same overwhelming environment. Sometimes we need to change our environment, or sometimes we overplan or overbook ourselves. We say, "Oh, we have this day off, so we're gonna plan all these things and try to catch up with all our friends and families, or knock off all these things off our to-do list." So it can be that, or sometimes we simply choose the wrong activity. Maybe we choose to do nothing, and so in that isolation, we allow ourselves to ruminate about the stress. So I believe, again, this is why it's important to identify the root cause and the source of your stress. Analyze your thoughts, your emotions, the physical symptoms that you're feeling, and be honest with yourself about where you are, no matter how harsh it may sound.
That's some good pointers, especially about the tapping into yourself and knowing when you on an overload and taking those intentional breaks. So, how many mental health days have you had to take? Do you do mental health days as a therapist?
Yes, I do. So I'm working in two positions. My full-time work schedule is Sunday through Wednesday, and then my PRN position at the inpatient hospital. Sometimes I usually pick up 2 or 3 days there, but I do have my times where I tell myself, hey, on my Thursday, Friday, and Saturday off, maybe my first day, I'll just use it to pamper myself, do some self care and rest. And then those other 2 days, I'll try to fill in maybe one or two social activities to catch up with some friends or things like that.
So, in other words, you have to be intentional what you do with your days off instead of
Yes,
like you saying laying on the couch doing nothing.
that's right. You ask yourself, like I said, how am I emotionally? Pay attention to your appetite, your sleep, your energy levels. We know what a PHQ-9 is. Complete your own.
On a regular basis.
That's right. At least every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, yeah. And that's good too, to be intentional about when you assess yourself. Because, and I tell my clients this too, the number one rule when you want to heal or to be in a better space is to know thyself.
Yes,
People are
ma'am.
scared of themselves. They don't want to assess themselves. They scared of what other people gonna think. And 9 times out of 10, people don't even know unless you're telling them your business. But people are scared of that self-reflection and scared of themselves. And so, just doing that in itself, like what you say, if you need a tool like the PHQ, or if you have your own little assessment, or if you're doing it through journaling, you know, it's just
Yes,
a lot of different ways that you can just do a quick assessment on yourself and take care of yourself.
yes, ma'am. And I agree with you, Miss Virginia. Sometimes that check in, that hard truth, it can be hard to acknowledge that and say, hey, this is what I need in the here and now. But I do feel that once we take that step, that things become better for us. So I do, to everyone listening, I want to advise you to really check in with yourself and have a clear understanding of what you need to feel recharged, balanced, and ultimately fulfilled again.
Right, because as we preach, like you can't take care of anybody else if you don't take care of yourself.
That's right. You
Any
can't pour
profession.
from an empty cup.
Okay, exactly. And we know those cups can get empty, child. One client can empty out your whole cup.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what is the one thing that women and men remove from their mental health day that actually makes them feel more rested?
I think that sometimes when we think of a mental health day, like I said, it can be a day to where we sit and do nothing. And we think, oh, I just need to give my body time. Maybe what I just need is rest. And so sometimes I think that we incorporate that isolation or that couch potato mechanism into our rest day. And really, sometimes what that does is just increase the stress because now some things that we could have taken the time out to do while we had the day off, it continues to roll over until the next day. So just not being intentional and kind of just using your mental health days as kind of like a free flow and then looking up the next day and being more stressed than you were before.
That's good advice. So I think it's a good point for us to take a quick commercial break. But before we go, we want the audience to think about this because this is something you're going to help them with when we come back. If they had only 6 hours to devote to themselves, what would your ideal mental health day include? So I want you to stay tuned to the end because she's going to help you answer that question, and you have a complete change on your approach to self care. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the girl. You weren't meant to break. You were set apart. What if your deepest pain was the birthplace of your greatest purpose? Meet Gingerbread, a child caught in the chaos of her mother's depression and suicide attempts. She never asked for trauma, shame, or to feel invisible, but she found something greater. Set Apart, the journey to find hope through loneliness, shame, and death is more than a book. It's the breakthrough you didn't know you needed. If you've ever said, "I'm fine," when you were falling apart. If you've ever thought, "This story isn't for me," it is. Don't let fear, excuses, or busyness rob you of healing. This book will shatter the silence, stir your soul, and remind you, you were never forgotten. You were set apart. Set Apart, the journey to find hope in times of shame, loneliness, and death, by author Virginia Dale Manning. Available now, because hope can't wait.
All right, so welcome back to our second half of Girl Talk Mental Health. Now, Aledra, it's time for you to give them the surprising answer to their question that they should have done over the break. So, for if somebody had 6 hours to devote to themselves, what would an ideal? And you gave so many nuggets already. So, what would be their ideal mental health day? What would they include in that ideal mental health day?
Okay, so I know 6 hours may seem like a short amount of time, but throughout this segment, we've been using the word intentional. So I would advise this person to start small but be intentional. This may look like a slow and unplugged morning, where instead of waking up to an alarm clock, you allow your body's natural clock to take charge. You may wake up, stretch, practice deep breathing, silence your mind, and just allow your blood to begin to flow. Like my grandma says, it's these phones. Silence your phone, turn off the news, and really allow yourself to tune in to yourself, to your inner thoughts. Connect with nature. Cook a nutritious breakfast or order takeout from your favorite local spot. Dedicate some time to do the things that you truly enjoy. Sometimes we get so lost in our responsibilities, whether it be at work or in our personal lives, that we put ourselves on the back burner. So, in those 6 hours, I would advise you to do things that are comforting to yourself.
Mhm. That's good because self care, I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's about yourself. And too many people, instead of just focusing on themselves, they focusing on other people on their self care day. They
Yes,
think taking off from work to go run doctor's appointments with the kids is a self care day.
it is not. It is not.
Another one that I get people about self care is they say they go to the get their nails done and their feet done. But if you get that done on a regular basis already, and or you need to be cute for work, call it a part of the uniform when you have to have your nails and hair done. I mean, if I got to go to work looking presentable, that's part of my uniform. I mean, write it off on your taxes. Now I'm just playing. Consult your tax advisor first. But I don't count that as self care because I already do it.
That's right. That's right. It self care needs to be something that's separate from your daily tasks and responsibilities. It needs to be something that is truly just for you, not including your spouse, your children, your clients, any of your coworkers, something that simply you enjoy.
Mhm. So, what are some things you people? Because a lot of people say this too. You probably get it too. I don't have anything that I like to do. I don't have any hobbies or things that I enjoy. How do you get them to that point where they can kind of pinpoint a couple of things that they can start doing as part of their self care routine?
I think we have more hobbies and things that we enjoy than we know. Sometimes it's just that we overlook them. For myself, I enjoy music. I enjoy listening to podcasts. So sometimes for me, that can just be in the house, dancing, singing, listening to my favorite podcast. And you will be amazed at how just singing and dancing in the house recharges me. I'm
Mhm.
also very big on outside, so nature. I believe, it's good for us to listen to nature sound and just pay attention to the world surrounding us because oftentimes we have so many different things going on in our lives. Like I said, whether it be, connected to our phones, taking calls, consults, things like that. That sometimes we just kind of need to go out and connect with nature. I feel that I'm a spiritual person, so I feel that God has already given us all that we need to thrive. We just have to tap into it.
That part right there. And then to reflect and stop being so busy because you miss the quietness of God trying to talk to you or bring you what you need because everything is too noisy. You rush, 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 you go, 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 and you don't take time to reflect and try to listen. Like you say, nature is a good spot for that too, to listen to what's going on, to be in tune with what's around you and to,
Yes,
tap
ma'am.
back in to peace.
That's right.
Peace. So for women who feel guilty for resting because everyone depends on them, we talked about that a few seconds ago. How
hmm
can they begin to see renewal as necessary rather than selfish?
So a lot of times as women, we have this what I like to call productivity guilt, where we begin
Uh,
to feel anxious or shame when we're not actively working or checking things off our to-do list, giving our kids our undivided attention. But that mentality, truthfully, it leads to burnout and emotional distress. So I like to unlink myself from my accomplishments or all the things that, just that hyper independence and redefine what it means to be productive because ultimately productivity is unique to the individual and it's doing what you need to do when you need to do it. It's not saying that, oh, I'm going to procrastinate or be avoidant, but it encourages you to set boundaries and to actually schedule time out for rest.
I like that word that you use, the unlink part, because it really makes you visualize disconnecting yourself from all of these busy work things that you think is productivity when taking some self-care actually helps to increase the productivity too. That link that people
hmm
miss.
Yes, because rest isn't the opposite of productivity. It is a part of productivity. And like you said, we can't pour from an empty cup. As professionals, as moms, even as women, just in everyday society, we absorb a massive amount of emotional weight. And a lot of times we're just going, going, going. And like I say, that hyper independence that a lot of us have as minority African American women, we don't take the proper time out to rest and recharge. And we don't really get the opportunity to do so because guess
Mhm.
what? If you don't have those boundaries in place and say, hey, I can't do that right now. My no is a complete sentence. Then those people around you won't respect those boundaries and say, okay, I'm gonna give mama 5, 10 minutes. I ain't gonna ask her no questions. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You
yeah.
have to set those boundaries.
And that, like you said, you have to communicate those boundaries because if they don't know, I mean, you can't get mad because they don't give you your space when you need it because they didn't know.
That's right.
And you don't enforce it. That's another part too, to enforce it.
hmm
But I like what you said with the part about self-care as a part of your productivity. Now that's a nugget right there.
Yes.
A serious nugget. So
Yes.
what would you say to the woman that's watching right now who hasn't taken a day for herself in years? We ain't gonna say even months. We ain't gonna go all the way to years. You need to check yourself if it's been a month. So in months and years, because she's been surviving.
Okay. So this is where I'm gonna get a little tap into my education bag. So we know that overcompensation or hyper independence can be a strategy or defense mechanism to mask how we truly feel. So first, we need to pay attention to, are we masking something? Are we avoiding the elephant in the room? I think that's the very first thing, because a lot of times we keep ourselves busy to avoid having to deal with what's truly at the forefront, right? So that's the first question. Then the second thing I would do If you cannot simply come out of survival mode, then ask yourself, what is the reward? What do I gain by being an overachiever and ignoring my body's indication to rest?
Mhm.
Rest is crucial, and without significant rest, we can't function. Our productivity, our creativity, and our overall well being is hindered. So I say abandon society's hustle culture and tend to the needs of your own body, because the truth is you deserve it. And you need to set the foundation to be able to function and produce quality care.
And that is facts. So I'm glad you gave them some steps in that hustle culture. Like we have been programmed to
Yes.
think that we have to go, 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 and then that we don't deserve to take time for ourselves because the matriarch is been the forefront of families for a long time, even if you have a male in the family, because he's probably working and and hustling that hustle thing, and you
Mm-hmm.
at home trying to be the nurturer and the productive person or the hustler or the still bringing in income. So women, that's another part of that self-care, that balance. Can you talk about that more?
Mhm.
Because we fail to balance that, that all those components in our life.
Yes, and I think the reason why the balance lacks is because, like as I stated, a lot of us have that hyper independence, and sometimes we don't know how to assign tasks out and advocate for ourselves and say, "Hey, I need you to make dinner tonight," or "I need you to pick up the kids from school," or "I need you to attend their doctor's appointments with them," or even if you're a professional and you have coworkers, people around you, "Hey, can you help me with this?" Even if it's just by responding to a simple email. So delegate task out. Reach out and lean to the people who are in your community, your village, and let them know what you're in need of, and really allow yourself to step out of that hyper independence. Because the truth is, there is no reward for being hyper independent.
Hmm. That was a trick question then, is what you were saying?
There
Yes,
is no
it
reward for it.
is. All right, that's good information. So let the audience know, or if you have any closing remarks, you can share that, and then let the audience know where they can contact you or link up with you for more information about what you have going on.
Okay, so right now I am offering sessions. I'm doing cash only as I am still a LPC-A. I am available to connect, whether it be LinkedIn, email. I will share that with Virginia. She will post that in the information for this video. And I also have social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram. And my name is Aledra, Aledra, Meshann, Meshann, on all platforms. So feel free to connect.
Oh, I'm glad I ain't have to pronounce that middle name. That's your middle name.
Yes, ma'am.
I would have messed it up for sure. I'm glad you didn't put that on the notes, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, we appreciate you showing up today and using your time to grace us with your information. Because, most people think, well, associates, you already are licensed. You just have to do the practicum. But you have such a wealth of information. I mean, who would know that you're an associate? So you have a good
Yes,
supervisor
ma'am.
too, as well, and your experience or whatever. So keep up the good job.
Thank
But
you.
um, if this conversation spoke to you, first of all, go connect with her. And don't let this be your last time healing with us together. And if you ever whisper to yourself silently, I just need a break, well, this episode may reveal what your soul has actually been asking for all along. So do your self assessment. Subscribe and rewatch this episode. Go back and answer that question that she answered for you over the break. And we'll see you next week for another awesome episode of Girl Talk Mental Health.
Thank you for joining us for Girl Talk Mental Health. Remember, your mental health is your wealth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to at Virginia Del Manning.